Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got actress, activist, and author Christine Solomon with me. So, welcome, Christine.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I was really excited to talk with you, and I definitely want to talk about the book. But let's start from the beginning. What made you want to get into the entertainment business? How'd you go about that?
Well, I started at a very young age. I was pretty much inspired thanks to my family. They introduced me to all kinds of movies, from Asian movies to Bollywood movies to American movies, and I was so fascinated as a little kid, and I wanted to be part of it. So I got started in theater at a really young age, ventured into modeling a little bit, and then continued acting, doing theater, commercials, short movies, and then independent movies. And then I started getting small parts on feature films.
Yeah.
And then my drama teacher encouraged me to study theater professionally. And it was thanks to him that I ventured into theater school. If it wasn't for him, I would
Nice.
probably be doing maybe a different profession while acting on the side or something. But honestly, like I went in there, got my theater degree. I was never somebody who believed in having a theater degree in order to become an actor. And boy, I was wrong. Not to say that some people do end up having an amazing career without going to theater school, but
Yeah.
just having a foundation and having a technique to fall back on is such an amazing thing for an actor. And I had 13 classes a semester. It's 3 years. It was pretty intense.
Wow.
Doing a long, about 3 hour play on stage from different decades. I mean, it's a lot. It's hardcore training that really prepares you out there on the field. So it really changed my mindset. I'm so grateful for it. After I graduated, I got an agent right away. I started auditioning and traveling and working abroad as well. And then I got sponsored for the States. So I was like, okay, I guess that's where I'm heading next.
Yeah.
And it's been great. It's obviously because of the pandemic, things have been slow around
Sure.
the world. But that's when you have to think about how you can be creative, and that's when I thought about writing a children book. I wanted to create something, and that's how it happened.
Yeah. So during your isolation, your time at home, you wrote a book.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty great. That's pretty great. I wanted to go back to when you were in theater school. So were you acting in plays that were in front of audiences, or was that in a class?
No, in front of like audiences, and
Yeah.
agents and producers would come and watch the show. I mean, I went to a theater school that was really well known in Montreal, that was very difficult to get in. And we had amazing teachers, and teachers who were actually working as actors in American movies as well. That whenever
Wow.
American movies come to Canada, they work on it. Like the other day, I was watching, I think it was the Jennifer Aniston, Adam Sandler movie, the murder mystery. And then I
Yeah.
see one of my ex-teachers, drama teacher, and I'm like, oh my God, Jude. So it's fun. And not only they're a teacher, but they're actually working on the field. So they really guide you and they teach you. And, one of my teachers said something in class that really stayed with me. He said, when you are a professional actor and you've studied acting professionally, if you ever get sick and you have to go on stage because the show must go on,
Right.
you have to deliver the same performance you did the night before. So you have to, if you have a technique to fall back into, you'll remember what you did actually the night before or the day before or whatever, and then you'll be able to recreate that same performance without anybody knowing you're sick. And that
Pretty good.
whatever you have, if you have the flu or a cold or whatever, or you're not feeling well, you're still going to be able to deliver the same performance because you're going to remember. And also, whenever you're performing and you're practicing and you feel that something is wrong and you're not sure, like, you know, when you're not trained, sometimes you can't pinpoint, like, what are you doing wrong that doesn't feel organic or believable. But when you do have a technique, you can notice it right away, like, okay, I know what I'm doing that's not working. It's this or that or whatever it is. And it really is, it changed my perspective completely about training. And when you go to, like I said, professional theater school is different than when you take workshops.
Right.
It's completely different. You can take a lot of workshops, but it's never going to be the same when you go in there and you work for 3 years with teachers, and you're doing like different period pieces, you know, and you're learning all kinds of things. You know, you'll learn how to scream or cry without injuring your voice, stage combat, just a lot of things, dancing through the ages, just learning. And it really does have a different accents, how to change your voice, just a lot of things like that. In the phonetic,
I guess I never thought of it that way, but it kind of builds that acting toolkit that you'll need when you go in for auditions, or if you're doing theater, anything like that, you can kind of fall back on some of those things you've learned. Yeah. And give me an example of a technique that you learned that would help you.
In terms of performance, you mean? Or in terms of
if you're like give me an example of a difference in you going and performing a play before you went to school and after.
Well, I think analyzing the text, and one of my teachers developed this technique. His name is Stephen Lucky, and he developed the Vox Method Technique. And I dedicated this book to him because he came up with a sentence to help us practice our voice, which is odd ed. Ed is an odd egg upon an Eve. And this sentences had all the phonetics, and we would practice it and sing it and recite it. And he came up with his own technique, and it's about how to package the sentences and emphasize on which word, and to understand how the character is supposed to speak. You know, the text, the way it's written, you can tell right away with his technique whether this person is angry or is talking too fast or needs to talk a lot slower, how to sound natural and not robotic. What are the just honestly, like it's his technique. And when I went to acting workshops or read acting books, they never talk about packaging the sentences. I don't know how to explain it to you virtually like that on video, but it's the way we talk. When we talk, we package our words, you know, in a certain way so we don't sound robotic. If I say I want to go to my friend's house, well, I want to, that's one package. To go, package, to my friend's house. And it's the way we package the sentence and the inflection of the words. So people who have accents naturally, when they want to perform in a standard way, my professor would teach you on inflections, on how to package so you sound standard. It's kind of fascinating the way
it is.
This technique.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting, because it's something that I think acting's such a difficult profession, but it's, you know, for someone that doesn't act, it seems like it's easier than it is, which is a compliment to the actors. But there's a lot that goes into actually stepping on stage. And it's like anything else, there's exceptions. I mean, you've got some people that just inherently seem to know that type of thing. You know, it just happens. But those people are rare.
Yeah, some people do it naturally. I had a friend from theater school that after our training and he graduated, he decided to go and continue his studies at a university. And he was just like, oh my God, like big mistake. Like I learned so much back at Dawson College than what I'm doing now. And they don't even know what it means to package a sentence. And I'm like, wow. Okay. So it's really interesting. I'm just I'm happy that I got to be part of Dawson College theater program, and I'm grateful for it. My teacher, Stephen Lucky, still coaches me on certain auditions that I need to coach or for performances on different movies that I need him to be there. And I'm still in touch with my teachers. I love them all.
Yeah, that's great. That means they made a connection with you. That's really good. That's really good. Do you sing or play an instrument?
I used to play an instrument, the flute and the trumpet, but that was a long time ago. I forgot about all of that. I do sing, but I'm not a professional singer. I've done musicals.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to go back to the studio and record like a song or something. And
Yeah,
this
you
is
should.
what I've been thinking about during the pandemic. I was like, it would just be for fun, you know?
Well, that's right. That's right. I mean, you chose to write a book, but you could have wrote music
Yeah.
and sang. So that's pretty good. So let's talk about the book. So the book is Odd Ed.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. I love it. The artwork is amazing, by the way. It's really good.
My illustrator, Anastasia Balobanova, she was incredible. I mean, in the manuscript, I wrote everything in there, like all the details, how I want the illustration to be, where I want the characters to be placed, like every little detail. And she was super patient and she gave me exactly what I wanted. And I'm very lucky to have found her. And she lives in Russia. I had to communicate with her different odd hours, but we were working on it for months. And finally it came together. And I'm so happy that now I can share it with everybody. So we have the paperback. Odd Ed is a book, is a story about Ed, who's an odd egg. As you can see, he looks different, but he doesn't just look different. He also behaves differently. And his siblings make fun of him. They bully him. And what happens in the story is that an incident happens, and then the siblings realize how important it is to love one another, to cherish one another. And that totally changes, and they embrace Ed for who he is. And the moral of the story is that not to judge someone by a book by its cover, because we are all different, we're all talented, and it's our talent, our differences is what gonna make us succeed in life. So I really wanted to spread that message across, because we live in a world where everybody wants to fit in, and the people that are different, that are going to stand out and that you're more interested in, you know, and you want to learn more about them. And that's what I wanted to teach children, because there's a lot of bullying, you know, and cyberbullying nowadays, and it's so awful that I just wanted it to stop. And I think that when we're born, we don't know what hate is. We learn how to hate someone in circumstances or whatever. People. So if we teach the kid at a young age to love one another and that it's okay to be different, we're already implanting that seed in that kid's mind. So that helps a lot. So I'm hoping I can raise awareness about this through the book Odd Ed. Now, Odd Ed has right now we have the paperback. We are going to be releasing soon the hardback cover.
Oh, nice.
And we're going to also be translating the book in French as well.
Oh, that's so great. And I love that it's not just a children's book. It's actually a children's book with a really great lesson for a couple different reasons. So it helps teach kids that differences are a good thing. You know, everybody has them. It's there's nothing wrong with that. And it's, you know, it's a talent that you need to recognize in others. But I think it also helps those kids that feel different. You know, they feel like they're the odd one out, or that they're different from everybody else. And that's okay. You know, that's a message that, you know, that's not a bad thing. You should embrace that and kind of share that with the world. I love the fact that you focus on that particular message.
Well, thank you. It's also a gentle reminder for the reader that's reading the book to the kids, you know, to be aware of that. And I also wanted to teach the kids to not just real world morals, but also to take responsibilities, how to be organized, caring for the environment and the planet. So we have that all throughout the illustrations in the book. But you have to make it very simple for the kids to understand. You can't complicate things with the illustrations and the words and all that, but
That's
the
right.
message does come across.
Yeah, I like it. I like that from the reader's point of view. So most likely the parents' point of view, because it's usually when there's bullying, that's learned behavior, and unfortunately, a lot of times that comes from either other kids or from the family with that. So if they're maybe you're changing, some of those issues right at the source. If you've got somebody reading that to a child and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing some of that. So I'll change my behavior so that my kid doesn't, kind of learn that from me. So I think that's a great way to look at it too.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like it. So will we get like further adventures of Ed?
We will. I'm actually thinking of writing another story for Odd Ed, maybe for Christmas.
Yeah.
This one I feel like it's a great introduction for Odd Ed, great for Easter too, because
Yeah.
eggs.
Yeah. Perfect for Easter.
Continue, definitely. I am publishing my second book. It's called Wishing Upon a New Moon.
Oh, very nice.
This one I worked with another illustrator. Her name is Natalia Mazipa. She is also a very, very talented illustrator. Everybody, all of my friends that have seen the illustrations of the new book, they were just amazed and astonished on the details, the architecture of the buildings inside the illustrations. I mean, it's beautiful. And this one is a completely different story. With a different message for kids to learn that it's okay not to be perfect, and that it's okay to fail, because when you fail, you learn. That teamwork is key in order to grow and succeed, and that success does not need to be perfect. So that's the morals that you're going to learn from Wishing Upon a New Moon. And the story is pretty simple. It's about a girl named Pepper who loves to be who her goals are just, she loves to be, she's like a perfectionist in her work and everything. She's very dedicated. She wants to succeed. And because of that behavior, it gets in the way with her and her best friend, Bremner. And then she is devastated when, that happens, because she faces the consequences of her actions. And she has to think, how to correct those mistakes. And she wonders if her best friend will ever come back and be friends again together. And I'm not going to give away the story, but it's very, very, I think kids are going to love it. I love Tim Burton and Hans Zimmer.
Me too.
Composer. So I wanted to pay homage to both of them in my book. So I got inspired, and it's completely different from Odd Ed, the illustration. It's very much like Tim Burton a bit,
Nice.
A little dark, mysterious, mystical. And I really think they're going to enjoy it. It's a very cute story, 32 pages.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, that's like the perfect size. That's a good size for a bedtime story.
Yes.
Yeah. So when will that one be out?
This one will be out probably maybe in May, or maybe in the summer. We're trying to figure out when exactly we're going to launch it, because we're still promoting Odd Ed. So we want to make sure we give enough time.
That's right. You don't want to overlap.
Yeah, you don't want to overlap. And Easter's coming up, so we want to make sure we spread the word out there, because it's a great gift for Easter for any kid.
Yeah, it sure is. So Odd Ed has been out now for a couple of months.
It's been out. Yeah, it's been out since December 1st.
Yeah. So what's the feedback been like? What kind of feedback are you getting on the story?
Oh, amazing feedback I've been getting from all kinds of people, and kids are just loving it. And just yesterday, someone was telling me, my gosh, I probably read the story 50 times for my kid, and she still
Oh,
wants to hear more and wants me to read it for her every night. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing.
that
And
is.
yeah, and yesterday we were now at a bookstore called Book Soup here in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and another bookstore called Skylight that also will be having Ed over there as well. And we're just spreading the word as much as we can. We're hoping that many bookstores will carry Odd Ed so people get to know about the story and about the character.
Yeah, I love that so much. Have you got to go and actually read the story anywhere?
I will be doing that in May at Barnes and Nobles if everything, is
Oh,
right
exciting.
at the Grove at Barnes and Nobles Grove here in LA. I've been scheduled already, and hope nothing gets changed. But that's what we're planning on in May. Actually, we're having the reading, and if I do get any readings earlier than that with other bookstores, I'll make sure to have that. I'll be basically posting about it, and you're gonna find it also on the Hillweiser Publishing website as well. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and just seeing kids smiling and liking the story, and they want to learn more, they want to see what's the next adventure. And what I do is that, and at the end of the book there's a section here where I ask the kids, let's play, you can write, you can draw Odd Ed's next adventure. So I have a few pages for them to draw, and just for them to sort of like put them in a mood to create and be creative. I think that's very important. So for them to come up with their own stories of Odd Ed, and hopefully if they can share it with me, that would be really wonderful.
Yeah, I think that's terrific. What a great idea. And I love the fact that they can actually, add to the story on their own. And especially for the age group that book is going to be appropriate for. I mean, they love to draw and they love to use their imagination. That's a terrific idea. More books should do that.
I just wanted them to interact and start creating and start thinking and play around.
Yeah, that's really great. So once we're starting to come out of stuff now, we're trying anyway. So once the acting starts picking up again, how do you balance that?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't consider myself a professional author or writer, because was, my first children's book. But it's a passion of mine. I'm going to continue doing it because I love it so much. I think it's important and it's very healthy to have many passions in life. And I do have a lot more than just writing and acting. I also love fashion. So I love creating and painting and sculpting. So I'm probably going to explore those as well. I love skincare. I love taking care of my skin. So I'm launching my own skincare line.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, as if you didn't have enough to do.
I think it's important to stay active and keep creating, because we're in a period right now where it's so negative and you can feel the energy. And the only way to get out of this is to keep creating. I've heard this once. A woman said, we came on earth here to manipulate energy. And to manipulate energy, how do you do that? By creating. And I think it's wonderful. I believe that we came on earth to thrive and to help one another and to leave this planet for a better place for the next generation. And I think that, creating is a whole process for it as well. So keep creating, because it's very positive and it's great energy, and you're going to feel so good about yourself once you create, even if it's something small. You know what I mean? It helps a lot.
Yeah, I love that. So how do you get into the skincare business? How did you go about that?
Well, I'm very new. I mean, I've been formulating my own products for my skin, and I love supporting other people's brands. I love trying out and using other people's products. But what I've been really consistent with was the products that I enjoy formulating, because I have rosacea and they work really well for my skin. And I kept getting stopped by random people asking me, what do I put on my skin? And I never knew what to say. Like I mixed things together and I put it on my, I didn't know what to say. I was recommended other people's products, although I don't use them constantly, you know?
Right.
And then I don't know, I just thought about it and I was talking to my friends and I said, maybe I should just create maybe one product or two products. And
Yeah.
for available for people, maybe not the whole line, but just, just to try and see. And my friends thought it was a great idea. And they said, you'd be helping someone else that has the same skin condition as you. And
That's
because
right.
I feel like my purpose in life is to help people, everything that I do, whether it's acting, writing, whatever it is, I always want to try to help people through my work, and inspire them. And I want to get inspired. So I figured maybe that skincare line can help other people out there. And I don't mind trying it out. So I did a lot of research. I worked on it for 3 years and I worked with a biochemist just to make sure that the percentage of each ingredient I have is okay to be used by everybody. And because I use a little bit of a higher dosage than someone else does, because
Right.
of skin differences. But at the same time, a skin line may not work for everybody, and that's okay, because there's no such thing as one cream working for everybody.
That's right.
Somebody might have the same skin condition as me, and it might actually help them, and I might be able to help someone, in their lives and feel more confident, feel, happy with their skin. And so I'm gonna do it and try it out and see what happens.
What's the name of the line going to be? Well, that's right. What's the name going to be?
It's a French name. It's a short abbreviation for afternoon in French. So it's instead of saying après-midi, because après-midi is afternoon, it's après-midi. We say après-midi. And there's a thing in Quebec, where I'm from, in Quebec, where we say I'm getting my après-midi beauté. Après-midi beauté means my afternoon beauty, and I love getting my afternoon beauty, my facials in the afternoon. So I just thought it would be a really great name for the product.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's very pretty. I mean, the French language is just pretty as a whole, but that's a very appropriate name for skincare, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. So you've got that. You also do some spokesperson work for a couple different causes. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I love causes and I love getting involved. Like I said, I feel like my purpose in life is to help people. And if I can raise awareness, I think my job as an actor, when you're in this field, in this business, you have a voice and you have to speak for those that can't speak for themselves.
Right.
So you have to spread awareness. And, I was very fortunate to have these organizations reach out to me to ask me to get involved. And we touch so many people's lives, and it just brings me like so much joy to see people smiling and making them happy. And so I will continue to get involved in causes I believe in. That's about it.
I mean, that's pretty great. That's pretty great. What are a couple of the causes that you're working with?
Well, I worked with Josh Duhamel on a campaign called, America's Bravest. And it's basically Building for America's Bravest. And it's to help injured veterans, to help them build smart homes. Because when you're injured, there's certain things you can't do, and you want to feel independent and you don't want to depend on people. So they're very expensive homes. So we had to raise money to help them. And we've raised about $17 million. And it was such an amazing cause. And I also worked on another organization called Small Responsibilities. And it's to teach kids on how to take responsibilities at a young age, to teach them how to do their laundry, making their bed.
Oh, that's great.
I think it's important to show the kid at a young age to take responsibility, so they're already aware of it, and they can learn a lot quicker and feel more confident, as they grow older.
I love that one. I love that one because I think that's part of the that's some of the mistake we make, I think, as a society, is we don't structure the learning for our young people so that as they're growing up, we're giving them that, kind of self-responsibility, which is, you think of it as like, oh, I don't want to put too much on them. But what it actually does is it makes them confident in themselves, and they feel like they have control over their environment. So I really love that one. I think that's a really good cause.
I felt the same way because we live in a society where we love our kids so much. We're scared. We want to protect them and we want to do everything for them. But the opposite to that is that they become so codependent on us and they don't know how to be independent. And then they face the consequences when they grow older.
Yeah.
And they feel this like anxiety attachment just to the parents. So it's actually beneficial for the parents to actually help them be more independent.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I think that's a really great cause. And that's when you'll really see the results, is when they're an adult and, they're not feeling the anxiety of trying to learn that stuff as an adult instead of, already have the foundation, from when they were younger. So
absolutely. My mother taught me at a very young age. Like I even asked her, I was the one asking, like, I want to learn how to do my laundry, and, and I was a kid, but I wanted to learn how to do the dishes, clean a little bit with the mop and stuff. And just, it was fun for me. It's like playing, but at the same time, I learned so much. And now when you come to my place, it's like, I got that from my mother because my mother's organized and super clean. So when people come here, they're like, what is this? Like, how long have you been living here? It looks like it's brand new. Have you ever used the bathroom before? Because it's like so perfect. Like it's clean and like there's nothing. And because I learned that from my mother, and I like when things are clean, and I believe in feng shui. And I don't know, you come here and it kind of looks like Martha Stewart / Container Store. Everything is organized. And I do that. I feel like I'm more organized in my life. And I like to share my tips and everything with my friends. Whenever they come here, they get inspired. Like, oh, I love the way you organize this. That was actually really interesting. Like, I never thought about it that way. And it's pretty well hidden. And it's like, and also with my life, like I launched an agenda that I created. I'm going to show it to you.
Oh, yeah.
It's my own personal agenda that's now available for everybody. And it really keeps me organized and keeping track on my accomplishments and what are the next steps to do to get to my goals. And now it's available for anybody that wants to be organized and wants to achieve their goals and they don't know how to do it, how to track your progress. This is a great agenda for them. And it's available. It's available on the hillweiser.com website and Barnes and Noble website, as well as Amazon. And so that's, speaking of causes, other causes that I've been involved in is the rosacea campaigns. I was part of the Acne and Rosacea Society of Canada. I was an ambassador for them, and also for Galderma's rosacea campaign and other rosacea campaigns that I've done as well.
That's amazing.
That I love, and it's every April we do them because April is awareness. It's basically Rosacea Awareness Month. So it's that month that we promote a lot about the skin condition. It's very important because it could be connected to other areas of your body.
Right.
And it's something that I've lived with all my life. I think I was born with it, but I discovered I was diagnosed with it when I was 14 years old. And I didn't know what I had because I kept getting breakouts. And I thought because I'm a teenager, I'm getting these breakouts. But when I started using all these acne products and none of them was working and making the situation even worse, that's when I went to see the dermatologist, and he's like, oh, you have rosacea. So you need to use specific ingredients for your rosacea. And now my rosacea has gone into remission, which is great. And you just, you have to sort of like work at it every day. because it can come back. So you have to eat healthy, exercise, know what you're putting on your skin, take care of your gums and your teeth, because a lot of people don't know this, but the gums are connected to so many areas of our body. And
Yeah.
when we don't visit the periodontist or the dentist every 6 months for a cleaning or a deep cleaning, what happens, everything comes out onto our faces as well, so it's been shown. And it's good to detox the body as well, and all that. So all that plays a part for the skin as well. So it's just to raise awareness about rosacea and to help other people who don't know that they have rosacea. Sometimes when I do have a rosacea, mild rosacea, that comes from time to time, sporadically like that, I don't put anything on my face to hide it. So, and when I do have a huge breakout, let's say back in the day, I used to go out there and people would look at me and think that my face is burnt. And I would say, excuse my face, I have rosacea. And they're like, what is rosacea? And then when I start explaining to them what rosacea is, they're like, oh, maybe I have that. And I said, well, if you do, I would recommend you seeing your dermatologist. It's important to get diagnosed early and to seek treatment so you don't damage your skin or any parts of your body internally, and it's just about raising awareness. And I'm just happy that I'm able to do that.
Yeah, I think it's so great. And I love the fact that you brought up your diet, because I think that's a piece that a lot of people miss. A lot of times, especially if you have any sensitivities to anything that you're eating, that can aggravate any other condition that you have. So if your diet is poor, or if you're eating something that's you're sensitive to, that can bring out these type of underlying conditions. So I think that's really important, that you're not just addressing the outside, but you're taking care of the inside as well.
I really believe that that beauty it starts within, and it's what you put inside your body, and everything is connected. Everything, from your nails, from everything, your hair, like everything is connected. So it's and the more I read about it, the more I learn about it. I'm like, oh my God, like people who have thyroid problems. I was reading about it recently. A hairdresser noticed a client that had thyroid problem, and she didn't even know she had thyroid problems.
Right.
And she noticed it from her hair. She knew right away from her hair. And I was like, wow, like how interesting is that? How did you know? And then she showed me, and I was like, she showed me exactly the how the hair is looking. And she told her, and she went to the doctor, her client, and she did have thyroid problems, and she wasn't aware of it. So it's very interesting to me. I'm pretty fascinated by all of this, and I love reading about it. Mind you, I'm a little bit of a hypochondriac, so sometimes I don't want to dig too deep because then I scare myself. But I love learning, and understanding a little bit. I think it's important to understand, because then you know what to do. And I've been reading all kinds of books, and how some doctors say that sometimes being deficient in magnesium contributes to many, many things that you might not be aware of. And I'm like, oh, how interesting is that?
It can mess your sleep up, for one.
Yeah, I never knew that. I never knew, like, I know that being deficient in something always contributes to something, but I never knew the impact of it that much, how it really affects everything else in your body.
Yeah, that's really neat. That's really neat. So you have done voiceover work as well. Like you worked with some video games.
Yes, I have. I've worked with Ubisoft, and I've worked with other people, but not in video games, because I do all kinds of voiceovers, like for commercials, for anything to do with radio or TV or cartoons or anything like that. And yeah, next week I'm going into the studio to shoot voiceovers. So I love doing voiceovers. I have two voiceover demos, one in French and one in English, and I just love it. I love all the aspects of the entertainment field. And what I've noticed here in LA is that a lot of actors are only focused on one thing, either like film or television, and they'll just focus on that. But what about voiceovers? What about
That's
theater,
right.
video plays? What about commercials? Yeah, some just do only commercials. But I think just being open to everything and not limit yourself, you'll be able to grow and earn more. And it's fun. And what I've noticed is that a lot of actors don't want to do that out here in LA. They just want to focus on one thing, you
Right.
know? And I'm not like that. I just love doing everything,
Yeah, I
you
think
know.
that's so great. Ubisoft, they had a Spider-Man game back in the late 90s. It was like for a PlayStation. And I remember it because my daughter would play it, and my son, who was very young at the time, he would want to play it, but it was a one-player game. So she would hook up or hand him a control that controlled nothing. And he thought he was playing along with her while she was actually controlling everything. And I just remember that because years later, when he found that out, he's still upset about that.
Oh my God, funny.
What didn't you work on a couple of the Rainbow Six games?
I worked on Rainbow Six Siege. I did
Yeah.
a few voiceovers on that game. Mind you, I didn't even know it was Rainbow Six Siege when I first auditioned. And when I got the part, I didn't even know up until I went into the studio. And then they told me, you know, what game it was, and told me a bit more about the characters, because, you know, you have to sign an NDA and everything. It's very, very secretive. So you have to respect that. And then you can't talk about it up until it comes out. So I couldn't tell friends or family or anybody about it.
Right.
And
I'd have trouble with that.
yeah, and it was a lot. It was honestly Ubisoft. I've said that in another interview, is that they were on my bucket list for a very, very long time. A lot of my friends worked with them, and I've been dying to work with them and being part of their family. And I didn't give up. I kept auditioning until, like, you know, an audition was perfect for me, and they just took me, and I was so happy. I was still in LA, and I flew down to Montreal to record and work with them, and it was so much fun. And the person that was directing me at the time, he was Egyptian. It was so much fun working with him.
Wow.
And being in the studio and being back in Montreal working with fellow Canadians, it was just really fun.
Have you played the games?
No, I haven't. And that's actually a lot of misconceptions about actors, you know, who get involved in video games. They think that they play video games, they know all about the video games. And mind you, sometimes when we get auditions, even for television shows, we have to go online on YouTube and check a few episodes, because
Sure.
sometimes we don't have time to binge on all these shows. We're auditioning constantly for our next job. So
Yeah.
so we have to, and then we have to do our own research and learn about who's going to be directing the episode, what's his style, what's the show about, what's the character, and just, you know, learn and practice so we're ready for our audition. And that's how it works also with Ubisoft. Ubisoft tells you everything at the end, you know. You don't know everything. Sometimes you're like, oh, but I want to know because I want to like practice in advance. And
Yeah.
but it's not like that. And sometimes you have to improvise as well. Or they'll come up with something, okay, how about, you know, so you have to be quick on your feet and come up with things. And it's fun. It's playtime, you know. To me, this is playtime. So to me, this is my game, you know.
They don't give you a copy of the game at the end.
No, they don't.
Yeah, see that we need to fix that. That's, if you're on the game, you should get a copy.
They're not the only ones. Even when you work on television shows, they won't even give you a copy of your work. You have to find somehow the show and record it on your own. And it's hard, you know, it's hard to select all of your work, you know. I don't know. I guess that's the nature of the business.
Yeah, I don't think I'd like that part. I'd be asking. I think I'd be like, hey, maybe I could get a copy of that game.
Sometimes they can write it in your contract, but with Ubisoft, they were telling me like, there's no way. There's no way. I wanted a copy. They're like, there's no way.
Nope, not gonna happen.
So my like, because my agent at the time, like she had a lot of clients working with Ubisoft, and she's like, Christine, like they don't even have copies either. And I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. But
Yeah, well, I wouldn't either.
yeah, but it's okay because the best part is just being there, working with them, and the energy. And they're such creative people. They want to do good work. They want to. Yeah. They want to succeed. They want to entertain the gamers, and for them to enjoy the game and all that. So they put a lot of work into it. So much work that people don't know because they don't see behind the scene what's going on, So I admire that a lot about Ubisoft. And, they're pretty big now, and it took them a long time. They worked hard to get there. So.
Yeah, of course. Of course. So is there a genre that you haven't got to work on that you would like to try?
I mean, a genre, I wouldn't say a genre, but I would love to do a radio play. I've never been in a radio play.
Very nice.
Never done. And that would be a lot of fun. I have friends that have done it. And it would take me back in time, back in the 1950s, how they used to do radio plays and stuff. That would be just so, so much fun. I would love to get involved in that.
Yeah, I think that would be really terrific. It was a simpler time. You didn't really have television to compete with it. So that was your TV, but you were having to use your imagination with that. I think that'd be fun.
I also would love to work with Tim Burton and Marvels because I just love all the Marvels movies, and Marvel has done so much. It's incredible. And what I love about their movies is that they show kindness. They really do show a lot of kindness. And I would love to play a supervillain probably in a Marvel.
We need to make that happen.
That would be so much fun. I just love villains. There's so much layers, and they're just a lot of things just very juicy characters.
Yeah, well, that for sure. And Marvel has so many different shows and movies out there. We got to find your role in one of them.
Oh, I hope so. I pray to God. I do.
Well, Christine, this has been the best. I thank you so much for coming on the show. You've got to come back when the new book comes out.
I will, if you will have me.
Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. So a couple of things, though, before you go. Is there anything else, we've talked about a lot, but is there anything else that you're working on or, something that we can keep an eye out for?
Well, I did shoot a movie called Jasser. It's in the pandemic. It's a movie about a young man who loses everything and has to start all over again. I play his fiance in the movie, and it's starring Lorraine Bracco, which I love her so much.
Too. Yeah, she's so good.
Yeah, she is amazing. And we don't know when it's coming out, but to just keep an eye. It's still in post-production, so I think people are going to enjoy that movie a lot.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting. Yeah, good for you. We definitely will, because it's difficult to find good movies, that you want to watch. I love her, and you're terrific. So I'm in.
Inspiring movies. It's very inspiring. I think people are going to feel something for it,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So go through where we can find Odd Ed and where we can find you on social media.
Well, you can find Odd Ed on Barnes & Noble website and Amazon and hillweiser.com. You can find it at the Skylight bookstore in Los Angeles and Soup in Los Angeles. And my social media, I'm almost in all the platforms. It's so hard to track. But
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram at Christine Solomon, Twitter, Snapchat. I'm new on TikTok. I finally
For you, that's a tough one.
Yes, it's yeah, it is. I'm still learning how to
Yeah.
create, videos, but I'm having fun. I'm on Facebook as well, so you can find me if you look on my website christinesolomon.com, you'll find all my social media.
Oh, very
links.
good. Yeah, that's easy. We got one place to go to, and then we can just click on the links.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Christine. This has been just the best. I really enjoyed talking with you.
So much, Mike, for having me. It was such fun time just conversating with you and learning about you and just talking and sharing all those things that I've been doing. Just thank you for having me.
Of course. Yeah, we have to do it again.
We do. I would love to. I would really seriously love to.
Okay, hold on one second. All right, so that was the talented Christine Solomon. She was terrific. I don't know how she finds the time to do all that. There's so much, and most of her energy is going into projects and things that are helping people. I just think that's terrific. What a wonderful lady, just terrific. And she's a really good actress. We didn't get into a lot of the things that she has done, but she's really good as an actress. I've seen her. Seems like she was in a Robert De Niro movie from a while back. I know that she had a little role in a movie about Def Leppard. I thought that was really great. I've seen her in a show called The Detectives, which I think is a Canadian show. She was terrific in that. And she was also in a movie called Bullet Ride that I thought was really good. Just a terrific actress. Her writing is so well done. And please go check out Odd Ed. Your kids are going to love it. You'll love it, but your kids are going to love it. So definitely check that out. Christine Solomon. She is terrific. If you haven't done so yet, we could use your help. We're trying to grow our YouTube channel, which is the video version of this podcast. You can go to YouTube, MeisterCon Pod, and if you would subscribe, we would really appreciate that. That would help us a ton. You can find all 350 or so episodes, audio and video, on our website, meistercon.com. There's a terrific blog from Brett. It's funny, it's geeky, it's well written. You can find that there. If we're doing anything in studio, if we're going on location, if we're covering a convention, all of that will be on the website, meistercon.com. So thank you guys so much for joining us this week. Please come back. Until next time, bye, everybody.